So the fourth belief to bust is I'm being greedy by negotiating. I heard that it's very important for you all to understand the whole thing around diversity and what's going on these days. So this is the latest graphic from Power Her New York. They are the organization that helped write the transparency law here in New York City. And this is a graphic that tells us how the women in New York are not getting paid up to par just yet. And the most heartbreaking fact that they shared with me is that the Latina, Native American, and Black American demographic is going to actually take at least 100 years to catch up to the white male counterpart dollar. And this is the reason why I joined Rora. I joined because I wanted to help and try to correct this gap, like one client at a time. So when we talk about our fears around looking greedy or damaging relationships, you have to be able to put the mask on yourself first, right? I see this time and time again where the minority groups don't ask for what it is that they deserve because there's a lot of fear, and they would put the needs of the employer ahead of their own first and not take care of themselves. That's actually what Sally did when she was fearful of negotiating and asking for 3 extra days. She put all the needs of the employer ahead of her own. And I'm so glad that we had a chance to correct that mindset, because there was an opportunity for her to take care of her needs as well as another employer's, right? So close the gap, whatever you guys can do to help close the gap. This is a really big problem out there, and I'm trying to solve it one client at a time. And I know we're running close up on time. I do have a few more moments that I can share. So Louise, let me know if I need to have a hard cutoff. But candidates have fear. And for some of you, it's not about taking every single dollar off the table, right? For some of you, it might just be not being so scared to just ask for a deadline extension so that you have the other offers in hand so you can make a decision, right? We're not all starting off in the same level of comfort in terms of negotiations. So it's okay that if our achievement this time around was just to ask for a deadline extension, if our achievement this time around was to just ask for an extra $10,000, right? Just keep that momentum up and keep learning every time you negotiate. Now, talking about hurting relationships and fears, the counter to having that fear is to remind yourself that the employer should be demonstrating to you at this point how much they can support you, even at the beginning. As I mentioned earlier, they need to actually make it so that you feel supported, so that you have an idea of how they would support you once you get on the inside. And the hiring managers are expecting you to negotiate. And they even sometimes see it as a red flag if you don't, because they would start thinking, okay, what's going on with this candidate's confidence that they don't have the ability to speak up for themselves, right? And it's normal for you to feel awkward about bringing it up and talking about money, but just know on their end, they're used to it, right? So they're expecting, so don't be shy, bring it up, and at least try to advocate for yourself. We've all heard the guilt trips. We have to think about internal equity with the team. Oh, if you negotiate this, you're not passionate about the mission. If you negotiate compensation, you should come in with the right level of expectations at the right level of compensation. Otherwise, we're not setting you up for success, or we'll take care of you once you've come in and proved yourself, right? And I can definitely tell you that I've heard horror stories for each one of these quotes, where once being on the inside, the candidates were not taken care of, right? So what you need to do is just find out what the terms are for each employer so that you can make the best decision for yourself, right? Give the employer a chance to demonstrate how they can support you now, One of the questions that we got from registration was, how can I weed out the predatory employers? This is how you do it. See if you have that connection with them, with the hiring manager, and if they can advocate for you, right? Questions that you want to ask, like yourself, like how transparent are they? Do they give you all the details of your offer, or do they say something like, we can't share that part, that part's confidential? Will they let you have additional meetings with your hiring manager, your team members, or your skip manager? If you have concerns over how they treat diversity and inclusion groups, can you meet someone in that demographic who have your position, right? If you're not able to meet someone in that demographic who holds your position, probably a good sign that they don't have diversity as much as you would like, if that's an important factor for you. And then, how much are they making you feel guilty and greedy, right? If you're made to feel like that you're being incredibly guilty and greedy, and you have the evidence to support that you're not crazy in making this request, then that is a red flag for the employer. All right, so the fourth belief is now busted. You're not greedy by negotiating. You're just trying to understand what can and cannot be offered so that you can make an informed decision.